Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning all the examiners. My name is Dwiyanti Putri. I'm from 6BB class. In this special opportunity, I would like to present my final project, writing short story entitled Bak First Let Have Breakfast. In here, I have divided my presentations into 5 materials. The first one is introductions, that consists of background and the problem formulations. And the second is literature review, and the third is research and methodology, and the fourth are finding and discussions, and the last are conclusions and suggestions. Without further ado, let's get started. Food is an essential element of tourism. For tourists, food not only as a psychological fulfillment only, but also as a destination experience enhancer. When visiting Palembang, some tourists will try pempek because it is the most famous traditional food from Palembang. They do not know the variant or the kinds of traditional food in Palembang, especially the food that can be enjoyed as a breakfast menus. Because in the morning, they usually eat and stay in hotel. So they will hunt for the traditional food in the afternoons. This happens because the lack of information and also promotions. Introducing traditional food or morning culinary can be done by fictions. Fiction, especially short story. Short story can be read by one sitting, but a reader can get a lot of information and also relaxations after reading that. Besides presenting the story plot or presenting the character with his life, the author can also put some informations that might interest the reader. One of them, they can put the informations about morning culinary itself. That's why I got the idea to make a final project with the title Writing Short Story entitled Bak First Let Have Breakfast. By using short story, a reader not only entertained by the story, but also get so much information about traditional morning culinary in Palembang. For the problem formulation of this report is how to write a short story entitled Bak First Let Have Breakfast to introduce traditional morning culinary in Palembang. So the purpose is to find out the process of writing short story entitled Bak First Let Have Breakfast to introduce traditional morning culinary in Palembang. That's all about my introductions. Now we are going to the literature review. In literature review, I found some information related to the my final report. I found the theories about writing, theories of short story, and theories about morning culinary. For the process of writing, I found the theories from Gentry and McNeil 2014 and the theories from Rampan 1995. The next is research methodology. In here, in my final report, I used research and development by Borg and Gal. But to make it simple, because the lack of time, I used the research and development that developed by Sukmadinata 2005. There are 3 steps. They are preliminary study, model development, and final product and disseminations. But because of the lack of time and skill, for the last step, I only use final product. And the next is finding in discussions. In the findings, I would like to explain about the implementations of research and development by Sukmadinata. So the first is a preliminary study. In the preliminary study, I have found some information related to the writing short story in the books, in the guidebooks. I also read some short story to enhance my knowledge, and also I tried to find some journals about morning culinary. And then in the field survey, I did observations in the Pasar Kuto, precisely in Warung Aba and Warung Haji Medina, are the place that sold traditional morning culinary. And also in there, I observed about kinds, price, and then about the main ingredients of each food. And then the model draft. In the model draft, after I collecting the data through the literature study and field survey, I start to make the draft of my short story. So the short story has reached about 12,500 words, and then the page is 62 pages, and then it is used A4 A5 paper size or 30 centimeter and 19 centimeter. So about the story, this is about Masayu Kanadia Adinda, or well known as Kana. She is a culinary journalist in one of newspaper company in Palembang. She loves her job so much because she is a food lover. She also believes that the key to start a good day is by having a delicious breakfast. That's why she never skipped every single breakfast for her life. Until one day he must work with Kala Rajata for some reasons. And then as they get closer, Kana know the fact that Kala doesn't have a breakfast habit. That's why she took the initiative to ask Kala to hunt morning culinary every day with her. The genre of this short story is romance. For the cover, there is a front cover and also the back cover. In the front cover, in here, I put some illustrations that illustrate the contents of the short story. For example, a bowl of michelor, and then the figures of people that having meal together, and also the camera, and then there is a title, but first let's have breakfast, and the author name upside the books. For the back cover, there is a blurb or the short synopsis of the short story. Now, if we open the books, in the first page, you can see the opening word sections. In here, I put the title of short story and then the name of author and one sentences that can make the readers curious about what's in the short story. And then after that, the content itself. In my report, I only put several examples of the contents of short story. If you want to see it full, you can see it on the books or in the appendix section. And in the last pages of the books or the short story, I put the author, about the author sections, or we can say it is the author profile of biography, so the readers can know who the person who wrote this short story. And I also put some contact in case the readers need to get in touch with the author. Before making this product as of my final product, I did some process to validate the product first. In this step, I said the model development. In the model development, I did two steps. The first is limited testing and the second is wider testing. In limited testing, I gave my short story to two experts. The first one is from language aspect and the second is from the content aspect. For the language aspect, I gave it to the Miss Ifrohati Aprilia. She is a teacher in Budi Wijaya Educational Center. She checked for the grammatical error. And then for the content aspect, I give it to Miss Anggi Putri. She is an author. She gave revisions in the name for the main character names. She suggests that it will be better if I use such kind of Palembangese name because the main character in here are the person who was born and grew up in the Palembang. So it will build the Palembang vibes. So at first I just wrote the name of the main characters Kanadia Adinda. I changed it into Masayu Kanadia Adinda. After I did limited testing, I continue it to the wider testing. In wider testing, I give my revision product from the two expert before to one expert in the language aspect too. She is Mrs. Margareta Dinar Sitinjak, an English lecturer in Sriwijaya University. She also give some suggestions about the grammatical and then the repetitions, and then I have revised it. And then for the story aspect or content aspect, I give it to Miss Cinderella Sarif. She is an author too. She said that the information is well delivered. The short story is about the breakfast, but it can become a heartwarming story. So she said that there is nothing much to change because it has good enough. And then I give my short story to 3 random people in the age of 70 until 24 years old, because in that age the interest of reading fictions is high. And I can conclude from the feedback forms that I give them, and they give to me back, that they can entertain by the story and get a lot of information about traditional morning culinary. So I conclude that this story is worth to share to the readers. Okay, now we are going to the final product, because I have done the model development. Now the final product, I printed my short story into books to accompany this report, and also I upload the short story in my personal web account. Okay, that's all about the framing. Now we are going to the discussion part, because my problem formulations is how to write a short story entitled But First Let's Have Breakfast. So in this discussion part, I will discuss about the process of writing short story entitled But First Let's Have Breakfast to introduce traditional morning culinary in Palembang. For the discussions, this short story is about Kana and Kala, who work in one newspaper company in Palembang. They have contrary habit on breakfast. Kana is kind of person that never skip breakfast, but Kala is vice versa. And Kana, the one who love to have breakfast and know the importance of breakfast, asks Kala to hunt for morning culinary with her. In here, I'm not only to entertain the readers by the journey of their love, but also about traditional morning culinary in Palembang. Before making this story, I did some process. I adopt the process from Gentry and McNeil that say the process of writing is pre-writing or planning, writing, revising, editing, and improving. And the process also helped by the process from Rampan 1975 that said steps that can be used to facilitate writing short story are determine the ideas, arrange the outline, develop a draft online, and revise. For determine the idea, I think it is same process as like Gentry and McNeil said before. It is same like a planning process, a pre-writing process, because in this process I build on the idea that can be used in the short story. And for the theme, I got the idea to make a theme about morning culinary, because culinary is essential element of tourism. But a lot of tourists didn't know the variety of culinary that can be enjoyed as a breakfast menu. That's why the material about morning culinary needed to be introduced through short story. And then arrange the outline. After I have the idea before, I need to arrange the outline of the framework of this story. The outline included the intrinsic elements of short story, like setting, character, plot, point of view, and so on. For the main character, of course, she is Kana and Kala, and the minor, there are some minor character in this short story, such as Renita, Nata, and so on. And then for the setting, most of setting is take place in Pasar Kuto, precisely in Warung Aba and Warung Haji Madinah, and also in the office of the main character. And then for the plot, because plot is story that contains a sequence of events, in here, like pretext seated into Sadia, plot divided into several parts: introductions, rising action, climax, falling action, and denouement or ending. And this story using forward plot, and the story begins with the introductions of the main character, like the background, name, professions, and so on. And the rising action is when Kana and Kala need to work together, and their closeness is built every day. And the climax is when Kana realizes her feeling to Kala, but at the same time, she got the information that Kala has a girlfriend. And then for the falling action is when Kala meet Kana to tell the truth, and the ending is when the all misunderstanding are resolved. And for the point of view, I use the first person point of view. So the reader can easily recognize it by the using pronoun I, because I'm here as a narrator in the short story. And the next step is develop a draft outline. After the framework or the outline that I make, now I develop it into comprehensive short story form. And then I start writing based on the outline that has prepared. The short story has reached about 12 and 5 words in 62 pages. And then I did revise to make sure the short story is good enough. This is the process by Rampan. To make it better, I adopt the process from Gentry and McNeil too. They said there are 5 steps in full writing. They are pre-writing, writing, revising, editing, and proofing. I think pre-writing, writing, and revising almost similar to the process from Rampan, like as I explained before. So I only add editing and reproving process. In editing process, I ask help from expert to check the word, to check the content, the spelling, and so on. And then the last is proving it. The writer, I rewrite the final short story and make sure no little mistake are left, so the short story will be better. And the last material is conclusion and suggestions. So I conclude that I use 3 steps for research and development. There are preliminary study, model development, and final product. I did some observations in the Pasar Kuto, and then I tried to make the short story based on the observations I did. And then I developed the product by asking some expert comments and suggestions, and then after that I printed the short story into books. For the suggestions, I hope that the departments, tourism and cultural department of Palembang City use this short story to promote traditional morning culinary in Palembang, so the sellers will be motivated to sell a lot of Palembang traditional food. And then I would like to give suggestion to the student of English department of State Polytechnic of Sriwijaya to make more short story about traditional food from their own city, because it can develop their writing skill and at the same time to help government to promote culinary tourism. Okay, I think that's all about my presentation today. Thank you so much for your great attentions. Questions and suggestions are very welcome. Thank you.